Hello, this is Dr. Oz. In our previous video, I talked about make and buy decisions, and depending on the quantity needed, my make or buy decision will change. However, as you see, my results do change based on the quantity units. For example, if I'm just producing 10,000, I rather buy it instead of producing it. So I would like to do create a sensitivity analysis because my results looks like pretty sensitive to quantity units, and I don't want to do this manually. I could, but this is not the best way to go, and I will show you how to do it using data table. So what I'm gonna do here is just call this one as a model, this Excel spreadsheet, and then control drag right, and I will create a copy of this, and I will call this one as data table. All right, so now I will do my sensitivity analysis in this sheet. So here I will create a sensitivity analysis section. Control B, make it a different color for fun, and I like this red color. So now let's change the quantity. So my first column is gonna be always my input parameter. So in this case, quantity is my input parameter, and I need to leave one cell empty, and starting from here, I will put the reasonable range for quantity units. So let's start with 0 to see what's gonna happen. And let's say I would like to increase these values by 25,000 units at a time and see what's gonna happen. Highlight these two right down corner black cross and drag it down until 300,000. This is the range that I'm curious about. So based on these changes in these quantities, I would like to observe my objective, which is minimize cost. All right, so but I need to tell Excel how to calculate that, and I make that calculation right here if I want to do it. So this will tell me which ones minimize cost. But you know what? I'm not interested in minimize cost. This is whatever you are interested in terms of output. Let's say I'm interested in the savings. So now if I'm interested in savings due to let's say outsourcing or due to buying instead of producing it, I need to first calculate that in Excel. So let's calculate our savings here. All right, savings due to buy. So how would I calculate that? Basically, it is cost to produce minus the cost to buy. So in this case, I'm saving $219,000 by buying it instead of producing it. So I need to tell Excel how to calculate this. It's right here. Maybe we can color code these cells so that you know this comes from here. Let's use a different color here. All right, so now top left corner, I highlight my table, data, what if analysis, data table. And in this case, Excel is asking me my row input cell. I don't have a row input cell because my input cell, which is the quantity, is in my column. So I will skip that. Go to column input cell, and in this case, quantity. I need to tell Excel where is this number originally. So it's right here. So what I'm trying to say here in Excel is that, hey, Excel, take my first value, my first column, which is 0, and then plug in wherever I show you, which is right here. And then make these calculations in the model section and get the savings value and print it here. And then go to next row and the next row and the next row and do the same thing over and over again. Click OK. So as you see here, I got all my results. So let's make them all dollar figures. Home, dollar, eliminate decimals. So as you see here, my savings due to buy or outsourcing goes down and down and down when I increase the quantity produced. And if I reach, for example, 175, it's negative, which means that it's cheaper to produce. So I would rather produce if I expect to have over 150,000 units of product needed. Okay, this is pretty cool to do it one-way data table. This is called one-way data table. So I could do actually this one by one, plugging here the numbers. I said 25,000. Okay, the savings is 196,500. I could just copy paste, but this takes forever, especially if your table is big. But another cool thing is, what if more than one input parameters change at the same time. For example, what if this changes and also this changes? What am I gonna do then? All right, so let's deal with that situation. So what I'm gonna do is, again, in my first column, I will take my quantity. So I paste here, and then I would like to have all the possible values that I think that are reasonable. Let me actually copy this quantity somewhere, maybe here, and I will get all the possible values I think that makes sense. All right, so I want to just have more space, so I will copy this maybe here, whatever, and then I will just copy here these possible values, Control C, Control V. And now, though, this is my column input cell. I would like to have row input cell as well, which I'm interested in this. Whatever you are interested, you can put it here as an input parameter. So I would just put it here. All right. And I will, maybe I would just put the values here that I think makes sense. So let's say 50 cents and increase it by 50 cents each. So let's say I'm curious about 50 cents to $5. All right, so now I have my table here. As you see here, I have 10 columns and I have 13 rows, which is 10 by 13 is 130 different cells. This is gonna be quite tough to do one by one. So now I need to tell Excel, hey, what I'm interested in top left corner. Again, I'm interested in savings. Okay, and I need to tell Excel how to calculate savings right here. Maybe I would like to have some more space here because this gets a little bit cramped up here. So to do that, I would just go to here. For me, row 17, right click, and I will insert. All right, so I have some space here, perfect. So let's say what I would like to do is just add another column here the same way, insert, boom. And I don't want to have, let's say, any filling here. All right, and let's say I would put here, and let's do some design thing. I would like to have these values merge, these cells merge, and I would like to have this one 90-degree angle and centered. So let's do that. Right click, and then here I click on format cells, alignment, and I will play with this alignment or 90 degrees here. You can type, click OK. So now it looks like this, perfect. Let's say I would like to merge these cells too, because I know they're all variable costs associated with outsourcing. Merge center, perfect. And maybe I can color code top left corner similar to this, so I know what I'm talking about. Perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is highlight this entire table, data, what if analysis, data table. And my row input cell is outsourcing variable cost. So I need to tell Excel what's the source for that. It's right here, $3.50. I want this value to change based on the values I provide in my row. My column input cell, which are quantities, I would like to plug in this value one by one here. And I click OK. So now here is your table. What I need to do is, though, it's hard to read this. So I would like to first do choose dollar, and I really don't care about decimals at this moment. I will click top left corner to select the entire sheet between two letters, any two letters, double click to adjust my width of my columns and rows. So as you see, it looks pretty cool. However, I still cannot read these negative number, positive numbers. I will color code it. So using conditional formatting, I would like to highlight my table, and then under Home tab, you will see conditional formatting. There are different options here. I like to choose something pretty easy for me to see. Let's say I go to color scales, and I will choose maybe this one. So now once I choose this one, this will give me the best representation. Let's see whether there's any issue here. So what's going on? Let's try to read the column first. So if I increase the quantity, the savings due to buy is going higher and higher. I feel like there is an issue here, right? Because if I increase my savings, if I increase my quantity, production should be better. So what's going on? Let's double check to see what's going on here. Because the results are a little interesting, right? So if I do this area, if I highlight this again, and then data, what if analysis, data table, I just want to make sure that everything is good. This is part of your model building skills, debugging, to make sure that before you jump into the conclusion, you want to make sure that these results make sense. So row of input cell, all sourcing variable cost per unit, which is right here. And then column input cell is your quantities, so which is right here. And I click OK. All right, so I still get the same result. So let's see what's going on. So this is telling me that, let's double check. Let's plug in here instead of 3.5. Let's do 0.5 and plug in 0, because that's the first entry here, to see whether my data table is working properly. So if I do that, my savings is $234,000. Is that right? So yes, because I have 0 production, and why would I spend the fixed costs? All right, that makes sense. What about this number? If I plug in here 25,000 units, all right, now my saving is 271,500. Okay, that gives me exact same number. So does it make sense? So let's think about it. All right, I spent $234,000 just upfront, and plus $2 for manufacturing cost times 25,000, which is 50 grand. 50 plus 234 is 284. Okay, makes sense. And 50 cents times 25 is 12,500. Savings due to buy is 271,500. So as you see here, oh, okay. So what you see here is that it's pretty cool actually, because if I increase quantity produced while my outsourcing costs 50 cents, the higher the quantity is, more savings I generate due to outsourcing, because it's cheaper per unit. Oh, interesting. And you see the same situation for these values up to $1.50, $1.50, because basically what happens is that the more you need, cheaper it will get for you in terms of savings, because it's cheaper per unit to outsource. However, if it's $2, your results don't change. Of course, it doesn't change, because if it's $2 and $2, basically your savings will be always fixed cost itself, which makes sense. If you go higher, though, let's say, for example, if it's $4 to outsource per unit versus $2 to produce, then the higher the production is and quantity needed is, the better for producing, not purchasing, because purchasing is expensive. So what do I see overall here? So I see overall here that whenever these numbers are positive, which in this case, all these are positive numbers, so that tells me that this model is giving me the it tells me better to buy it. And when you see negative numbers like this one, it is better to produce. So maybe it's this color scale is pretty cool, but maybe it's tiring my eyes. So what I'm gonna do is, maybe I should just use 2 colors only. So what I'm gonna do is, here I would choose less than or greater than. Let's say if it's greater than, I would like to choose, if it's greater than 0, I would like to choose red. Otherwise, I would like to choose different colors. So for example, here, let's say red, I chose red, and you see all these red numbers. I could just maybe eliminate the other rule here, so it's not creating clear rules. And let's do it again. Home, conditional formatting. I mean, there are a bunch of different options. So let's say I will say if it's greater than 0, then show me as red, whatever. So as you see here, all these red combinations will give me outsourcing better. Otherwise, production better. So this is a great exercise how to do sensitivity analysis. Until next video, enjoy business analytics.